Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, friends. My name is Lisa A. Snyder. I've lost both my parents to cancer at 22 and 27. I work to inspire other people on my blog, losingyourparents.org, and journey through my own grief and healing process using creativity and self-expression. My intention is to connect those of us who have lost our mothers, our fathers, or both of our parents at any age in life through the arts, life experiments, looking inward and turning pain into something positive. So let's talk about stuff that's hard and ways that you can move forward in your life and how to get back to a happier place. I am currently broadcasting live from Portland, Oregon, unless you're listening to the archive later, in which case this is recorded. If you'd like to try calling in live today from 1 to 1:30 Pacific time, you can call 1-619-924-0723 if you just want to say hello, if you want to share something. Otherwise, you can contact me, losingyourparents.org/contact. To write me a letter, to ask for advice. I will actually be reading some emails that I have received today and speaking to them, so I can offer some help. So a life update from this side. The last week has been kind of explosive for the Losing Your Parents Facebook page. And I'm really thankful. I just want to thank everybody for liking Losing Your Parents on Facebook. We went from the Facebook page went from 370 something to 1,010 over a week, and I just want to say thank you so much for saying hello, liking the page. It was really exciting and awesome to watch it kind of grow 100 people at a time every day. So thank you. Other life update stuff. Those of you who have been listening, you know that I have my partner Catherine and I have got a dog. We have 3 cats already, and we have a dog, Ziggy, actually out in the world right now on a walk. And we've had trouble integrating the cats and the dog in together. The dog wants to chase the cats. Now he doesn't care about getting scratches on his nose, and we just went from having a very zen household to just it being a little crazy. So I'm very thankful right now for the peace I am getting during the show right now, so I can focus. Today we're going to be talking about guilt. It's really a very challenging emotion that you can, if you practice, move through with ease. We're talking a little bit about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. I did talk of the last 2 episodes about Thanksgiving and holidays. So if you're interested in listening to a little bit more about Thanksgiving, because you're really feeling it, because it's coming up tomorrow, listen to episode 7 and 8. So I'm just going to check the Hootsuite, see what's going on. There we go. Okay. So thanks everybody who's joining from around the world. Shout out to my friend Naz in India. And I learned last week that the blog itself has been looked at in 51 countries, which is really cool. So I feel really thankful that I'm here to help you in whatever way I can. So I guess I'm going to start off by reading an email that came in today. So I'm not going to say anybody's name. I'm just going to keep it anonymous. And I will do that for anybody who does send me a message. I will not tell anybody what your name is. I will not share any information unless you want me to. So for now, I'm just going to keep them anonymous. So this is a guy. He writes, I lost my mom when I was 20. It was sudden. I left New York to go to college in Texas. A week later, she died in her sleep. I just talked to her the night before. That's been tough. I'm 26 now. It's only getting harder as the years go by. I'm very reserved, and to call myself I'm very reserved, and to myself, so opening up to people is difficult. I'm 6 hours away from getting my master's degree, but I still feel so lost without her. I can't hold on to relationships, and people simply don't understand me. I'm different. I always thought being so different was good, but no one understands me. I no longer talk to my father because of some horrible decisions he's made since my mother died. It's almost like I've lost two parents. I started a blog about 4 years ago, and it's helped me to vent. I'm not sure how to survive the way I feel now. It's only been 5.5 years, and I can't imagine another 5 without her. I've been suicidal, and at times I drink too much. I'm a psychology major, so I think I help myself at times. Sometimes I only see one solution, and that's falling in love and having someone that's going to be there for me the way that my mother was. But I know I have to get better for that to happen. This has been a tough process, but I'm fighting like hell. Family members are so proud of me. Younger cousins look up to me, and when they see me, they think I have it all together, but I'm dying inside. But I'm fighting to stay alive. So, first of all, thank you for writing. I have a lot to say about what you have written me. First of all, I'm just sending you a giant hug and sending you lots of love in this really, really tough, challenging time in your life. I can identify with this because I was at the end of my college career. My dad got sick, and my dad died the day before my 23rd birthday, so I was in my early 20s. So first of all, it's amazing that you've been pushing through school and that you're getting a master's degree. I know it's really difficult to be in school and to try and focus, because I think school takes a lot of focus, and when you're feeling sad and angry and whatever the feelings you're feeling are, it's very easy to get lost and to not even want or have a desire to improve your life with school. I can identify with feeling lost without your mom. I think that when you lose someone, you do feel lost. You do feel like there's a huge piece of your heart is missing, and you're looking for it everywhere else. So I want to speak actually to, you mentioned something about, let's see. So you said that sometimes I only see one solution, and that's falling in love and having someone that's going to be there for me the way my mother was. Okay, so I'm just going to be totally honest with you. No one is going to be like your mom. There is not one person on this earth that's going to fill your mother's shoes. And so if you are constantly trying to seek somebody else that feels like your mom or fulfills that kind of love like your mother gave you, you're just never going to have a relationship that works, because you're always going to be seeking and you're always going to be looking for something that you cannot match. So I would suggest trying to work on the acknowledgement that there's going to be no one like your mother. You can have love in your life after your parents die. Maybe you already do. I'm speaking to this person in particular, and anybody who can identify with this. Trying to have relationships and also mourning and grieving is really difficult. When my dad died, my relationship really got totally insane. I was all over the place. I was constantly seeking something else and not fulfilled with anything, because nothing was going to fill my dad's shoes. And so I was trying everywhere, to fit things in, and it just wasn't working, and therefore my relationship did not work. The relationship I'm in now is very loving, and we've been together for it'll be 5 years in February. And one of the things that was important to me was to grieve before going into this relationship. And I mentioned that to her down the line as a way of saying, hey, I'm just not ready for this yet, but I'm going to do the work. And so if you're ready, if you want to do the work, if you want to find a relationship and you don't want to feel suicidal and you want to, release some of the drinking that's happening, you have to work on your feelings. That's the root system of everything here, is working on your feelings. I think it's awesome that you're blogging. You're obviously on a path of self-expression and being able to write about your feelings, and so that's amazing. That means that you're comfortable enough to explore them and also put it out there. Like, I'm speaking to everybody. You don't have to write a blog to express yourself. You can write a journal. Emotions are energy, and they get stuck. They get stuck inside, and they also pile up. So sometimes you think, I don't want to feel something, and it kind of softens the feelings a little bit so you don't have to feel them, but they're still there, and they will be there. They'll be there for years unless you decide to feel them, and it's really, really hard. Catherine was listening to Pema Chodron last night, a Pema Chodron interview by Oprah, and Pema is really great at grief stuff and life stuff and moving through emotions, and she mentioned last night that one of the hardest parts about moving forward is it feels like you're going backwards to move forwards when you're actually feeling feelings, because I'm going to be honest, sucks a little bit. It sucks a lot. You have to be in a safe space to feel them. Pema Chodron in the interview mentions, like, maybe you have to go for a hike by yourself. Maybe you go to a library, a quiet space where you can just be alone. Your bedroom, somewhere where you can actually, your car, go for a drive. Make sure you're being safe about it. Make sure you're there to just feel your feelings. If it's crying, you're afraid to cry in front of somebody, maybe you feel safe enough to find a friend. The goal here to be able to move forward in your life, you must be able to access your feelings and do something with them. Ignoring them is just going to perpetuate your feelings of sadness and, whatever other challenging feelings you're having. I think it's amazing that your family is looking up to you, and that your younger cousins are looking up to you. So you have people who love you. Isn't that beautiful and amazing? You have other family members who can support you. I know, that you say I'm dying inside. I know what that feels like, and I want you to know that this too shall pass. I think that that's a really great little mantra to remember, that this too shall pass. Everything passes, and it may not feel like it. I totally support you, and I hope that you heard some of the things I had to say about, your mother and trying to fill her shoes with other people. It's once you start doing the work on yourself, you will find somebody who is a good match for you. You have to be willing to do the work on yourself. All right, just checking on Twitter and Facebook real quick. So Naz says, at times people don't understand you, so it's better to be quiet. Well, it's true that people aren't going to understand you, and I think the thing that is important, and actually this was written in that email just now, I think the thing that's really important to remember is that people don't have to understand you. We want them to understand. It would be very, very nice if they understood, but they're not going to. So you have to release the expectation that people understand. Byron Katie is a woman who does this thing called The Work, and I'll probably talk about this in future shows. I've talked a little bit on my blog about it, but it's actually a series of 4 questions and some turnaround questions to move through things, because I'm thinking about her right now in this moment, because one of the questions is do you know that that's true? Is it absolutely true? Like, people don't understand me. Is that absolutely true? Like, not absolutely true. wanting to be understood, I think, is a normal human emotion, and wanting people to know us is a normal human emotion, but we can't expect people to do that. We have to find places that we have to start to understand ourselves and to rely a little bit more on understanding ourselves, because the wanting other people to understand won't be as great. I do think that if you can connect with other people who might understand a little bit, like maybe there's other people, I know there's a lot of other people who have lost parents, and there's a ton of them even on the Facebook page. There's people who write on my blog. We all are out there, a lot of people. I mean, everyone's going to lose their parents, everybody, and that sucks. Unfortunately, we've lost them earlier than others, and that's why we're feeling this way. Yeah. So, checking Facebook. Let's read another message. Second here. It's coming. Okay, so, this was actually a comment that was on the blog. It was just a little comment. I lost both my parents to cancer in the same year I was having a baby at the time. I lost my mom on April 18th of 2000. I gave birth to my daughter June that year, and I lost my dad the 1st of November in 2000. I was only 22. If it wasn't for my first daughter and son and dad feeding me after losing my mom, I think I would have had a break. I think she meant breakdown. And when I lost him, I had 3 children to look after, so I didn't have time. So I'm just trying to understand that. There's a lot of using the word for instead of FOR, so I'm just trying to figure out what this person's trying to say. So it sounds really challenging to have lost both parents in the same year, and then on top of it to also have children. I'm sending you a big hug and lots of love, and taking a deep breath. Sometimes releasing a feeling is as simple as just taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. I don't know how many of you are into meditation, but that's actually a really great resource, is even just 2 minutes of breathing, 5 minutes. Yoga classes, if you're open to that, are really helpful for meditation, or even a meditation class. There's a lot of resources out there for meditation, and I really highly recommend looking into that when you're trying to move through feelings, because you can be at work and actually feel through stuff. I do want to talk about guilt, because that was one of the main things I wanted to talk about today. Has about, after losing my dad, I've seen people change their behavior. Yes, we will probably witness people acting different. I mean, you're acting different too. You have to remember that you're also acting different. You're seeing the world totally differently. And so therefore also other people are seeing you differently. And some people, they don't want to deal with death, and that sucks. I remember feeling like there was a huge fork in the road, and there was a lot of people who I really thought would be there, and they weren't, and it was really disappointing and sad. And I did see people change their behavior. Suddenly I felt like the link that was my parents, even though I was part of my parents because I am their child, it was once they were gone, it was oh, who cares? Who cares about Lisa? Lisa who? I'm making up stories, but that's also the way it felt. So it's a weird little balance. So let's talk about guilt for a little bit in our last minutes here. I'm wondering, do you carry around guilt? Do you carry around guilt of what you could have done or what you should have done while your parent was alive? What you could have done better? What you did or didn't do, what you did or didn't say. So guilt is really sick, ton of like honey. It's very heavy. And trying to move forward in your life without working on the guilt stuff around your parents in particular, excuse me. To be human. So working on your parents, what am I talking about? I'm also trying to talk because I sneezed. And got self-conscious. So, guilt. Yeah. So, you may feel like you could have saved your dad. You could have saved your mom. You could have said you love them more. You could have been less of a jerk growing up, or less of a jerk being a teenager. There are a lot of things that you could feel guilty about. So my question to you is, and this is for you, what are you feeling guilty about? Do you feel guilty? Do you feel guilty? What is it that you feel guilty about? What do you wish you could have changed? You can experiment by, writing yourself an email, writing it down in a journal. Just write it down. Take a look at it, because, sometimes it's all stuff that we couldn't help anyway. I wish that I would have had a close relationship with my mom, but that's really outside of my control. I come to the table, or I came to the table, with a certain percentage, 50%. I wanted my mom to come 50%, and, maybe it wasn't like that. I was just having a conversation with a friend last night, and we were talking about this and how her father really wasn't been there for her, and is still alive, but never really had time for her, and she came to the table with 50%, and she wanted him to have 50% of the other half of their relationship, and he just didn't. And so she said, I have to come to the relationship with 100% of myself, so I don't have any expectations of what he can and can't do. He's only got the tools, that he has. And so think about that. Our parents are were in a different generation than us. They learned from their parents, only what their parents could provide. If you have parents whose parents were part of the Great Depression, that was a time period where people were in survival mode, and they're not trying to make connections. And I'm making some assumptions here and trying to understand why people do things or don't do things. You may not have the answer ever, and that sucks. That's one of the things that's really hard about having your parents go is you'll never know the answer directly from their mouths, but you can start the process by asking yourself, do I feel guilt? What do I feel guilty about? I'm going to write this down. You could also I use my phone audio recording a lot to process stuff, go for walks and just process stuff and just see what comes out. You'd be surprised, all the amount of stuff that comes out. Then listen back to it and read it like you're, or listen to it like you're listening to somebody else. Another interesting experiment that you could do is writing a letter to yourself, calling yourself, Dear Guilt. You're actually not writing a letter to yourself. You're writing a letter to guilt. Dear Guilt, why are you here? What are you doing here? I want to uncover the truth. It may sound kind of silly, but it's a really interesting experiment. Once you're done writing and you write with the hand that is your dominant hand, write back to yourself with your left. I'm a righty, so I'd write, Dear Guilt, what the hell are you doing here? Love, Lisa. And then what I could do is with my left hand say, Dear Lisa, and then write from the place of guilt, and you might be surprised about what kind of stuff comes to the surface. And you can actually do this back and forth to have a conversation with guilt. Really, really fascinating little experiment that I found to be amazingly helpful. All right, getting some beeps here from Twitter. So sounds like Naz has some guilt that he could have hugged him and told him that he's his dad. told him that he loved him and never did because never wanted him to know, that he was suffering. Wanted to talk to him, ask for forgiveness if he'd done any mistakes. He'd been rude at times. Okay, so this is great. I mean, it's not great that you're feeling these things, but it's great that you're talking about these things and discovering these things and aware of these things. Awareness is is key to turning on your awareness is key to actually moving forward in your life. So it sounds like you are, if you are aware of the things that you are feeling guilty for, it may be time to work on some self-forgiveness, because there's nothing you can do about the past, and you can't change the past. You can't change who you were. You can't change whatever you were going through. And everything, whether or not you believe this, everything happens for a reason. And so you have to kind of let these things lie. You have to let them be what they were. And, I feel like there were some times in my teenagehood that I could have been kinder to my parents, but I was a teenager. Like, you have to, whoever you're mad at, like let's say I was mad at my 17-year-old self. Like, that's Lisa at 17, and I have to forgive Lisa at 17 or 16 or 15 or whatever it was. And maybe you have to forgive Naz at whatever age you were for whatever you feel like you've done. And that's not an easy thing, but you don't even realize how much you're holding on to. Like, guilt is a heavy, heavy feeling. And if you could take some steps to move forward, to feel a little bit less heavy, I think that would really be a beautiful thing. So we're coming to the end of the show here. I just want to put this out there that I hope you have for those who are in America, hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope that there's joy that flows through you, and that the parts that are challenging for you, that you find peace and some way of being able to move through your challenges. If you would like to write me a hello, or you'd like advice, please write me losingyourparents.org/contact. And I also have, ways to stay in touch. You can subscribe to the blog there if you'd like to get updates via email on, whatever I'm writing about or talking about. You can follow me at Losing Parents on Twitter and on the Facebook page, facebook.com/losingyourparents. So I really appreciate y'all tuning in today, and those who will be listening to this archive, sending you lots of love. So my name is Lisa A. Snyder. You've been listening to Losing Your Parents International Radio. Remember, you got to feel